Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. I'm Gary McKenzie, your host of Gridiron Lines, here on the RGR Football Network, the best place for Chiefs YouTube content on the internet. So, last week I made a prediction, and I made a prediction that Isaiah Pacheco would have over 1,000 yards rushing in 2024. I provided reasoning for that. If you want to go back and watch the video, you're more than welcome to. But before I get started in this week's video, this week's content, I'm going to throw the question out to you, the viewer, and ask, is there anything else you would like to see me predict? Just a little bit of a heads up. I do have a background in sports, data science, machine learning, all that good stuff. So I'm already planning on predicting the Chiefs' regular season record. I've done that for probably the past, 5-6 years. And so I'm curious to know, aside from the Chiefs' regular season prediction, is there anything else you would like to see me try and predict heading into the 2024 season, aside from the regular season record and aside from Isaiah Pacheco's rushing numbers? Let me know down in the comments, please, if you could. And then while you're here, I want to say thanks for stopping by. We have really good Chiefs content here. Ryan, Dan, and Seth all do a great job. So if you want to subscribe, we're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. But other than that, let's go into today's content. And the one thing I want to talk about is sort of a conglomeration of several things that are going on for the Chiefs heading into training camp. I want to look back at a few years, look forward at this season, and really talk about the Chiefs' offensive output in 2023 and why the Chiefs' offense or why the Chiefs' coaching staff is saying we have to throw the ball down the field. We have to start throwing the ball down the field. Why is there this sense of urgency for the Chiefs to start throwing the ball down the field when they won the Super Bowl last year with a ball control style offense? If it ain't broke, why fix it? Why is Coach Reed wanting to change things for the Chiefs offense so much that they bring in Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, two players that are known for the potential of taking the top off of a defense? And so why would you go this way? Why would you make this choice if you just won the Super Bowl 2 years in a row with sort of a ball control style offense? So the reason that they want to do this is clear to me, and it'll be clear to you too by the end of this video if it already isn't. So the Chiefs' average points per game in the Patrick Mahomes era. In 2018, they averaged an insane 35.3 points per game. That's just ridiculous. In 2019, they averaged 28.2 points per game. And in both 2018 and 2019, their top three receivers were Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and Travis Kelce. Those were the three guys that were catching the ball the most for the Chiefs. In 2020, the Chiefs averaged 29.6 points per game. In 2021, the Chiefs averaged 28.2 points per game. There was a change, though, in those 2 years where the Chiefs had a different kind of look in terms of who is doing most of the receiving. As you know, Sammy Watkins departed from the Chiefs after that 2019 season. And then in 2020, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and one more receiver. I'll give you a moment to try to think of who this receiver was that had the second most receiving yards for the Chiefs in terms of wide receivers. Third most total if you include Kelce. So who is this player that in both 2020 and 2021 had the second most receiving yards for the Chiefs? I'll give you a second to try to think it out. I was a little bit surprised by this. Okay. So in 2020 and 2021, it was Mecole Hardman who had the second most receiving yards for the wide receivers behind Tyreek Hill. And I was a little surprised to see that because maybe it's because of Hardman's sort of fall from grace as of late. Even though he did catch that pass in the Super Bowl, he got traded to he got signed by the Jets, came back to Kansas City, and then just didn't seem to be able to put it together like he had in years past. Another interesting thing in 2021 Byron Pringle had 568 yards receiving, which to me seems kind of crazy, looking back on the 2021 season. He eventually would get signed by the Bears and didn't hear much from him after that. In 2022, the top three receivers for the Chiefs were Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Kelsey. So this was whenever the shift happened, whenever the Chiefs started to move towards more of a ball control style offense. Juju Smith-Schuster, not known for taking the top off of defense, known for possession style receiver, can make a tough catch, and he did an admirable job for the Chiefs in 2022. MVS, on the other hand, was a player who, even though Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback, never put up the kind of numbers that people felt he should based on his size, his speed, all these good things. Came to Kansas City, same song and dance. Mahomes was his quarterback. He had a decent year in 2022. In 2023, not so much. So the Chiefs kind of moved from this explosive downfield Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins style offense to more of a ball control style offense. And in 2022, when they made that shift, they still scored 29.2 points per game. So they were still super productive. They still were one of the top offensive teams in the NFL, even though they had shifted away from what had been scoring so many points for them. In 2023, though, the proverbial crap hit the fan because they only averaged 21.8 points per game in 2023. And we'll talk about 2023 a little more here in just a second. But Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Justin Watson were the top three receivers to the Chiefs in 2023. Let me repeat this. Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Justin Watson were the top three receiving threats for the Chiefs in 2023. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl in a year where Justin Watson was the third most productive receiver on the team. To me, that's fairly mind-blowing. I honestly can't believe that. Nothing against Justin Watson. I think he's a really good, third or fourth option, but you don't want him to be a wide receiver too. And so because of that, the Chiefs went and picked up two wide receivers, one in free agency, one in the draft, who they think can compete and help this team. So in 2023, the Chiefs averaged a measly 21.8 points per game by their standards. I mean, that's around 8 points less per game, or a touchdown and an extra point less per game than what they had done in the prior 5 seasons with Mahomes. So what happened in 2023? So league-wide, NFL scoring was down in 2023, and you can blame that mostly on the fact that there were a lot of quarterback injuries. So teams are going to score less in the NFL if their starting quarterback's injured. And listen to this list of quarterbacks who finished the year on IR. Some of them played more games than others. Some of them played 4 snaps like Aaron Rodgers. So Joe Burrow was out for the season. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and Deshaun Watson. But I honestly could care less whether he ever plays another game again, to be honest with you. But those are the starting quarterbacks that were injured. That's almost a quarter, almost a fourth of the entire pool of starting quarterbacks in the NFL ended their season on the IR and unable to play. So that's one of the reasons why league-wide scoring was less in 2023. But in addition to that, for the first time in decades that I can remember, the NFL officiating committee, the NFL, leaders decided to put a clamp on some of the pre-snap things that they were seeing on the offensive side of the ball. And because of that, you saw a lot more false starts, a lot more pre-snap penalties, illegal formations, and they also put an emphasis on finding penalties for ineligible receivers downfield. So all these pre-snap issues on offense and these ineligible receiver downfield penalties caused NFL offenses to sputter more often. You get a penalty, it's almost as bad as a sack. You're back 5 yards or maybe back 10 yards if it's a holding. And this really puts a damper on your offensive production and your chance of scoring points and getting downfield. So the NFL as a whole saw much more offensive pre-snap penalties, much more ineligible receiver downfield penalties. And because of that, as well as the quarterback injuries, scoring was way down in 2023. I think we all lived it. We all saw it. We knew what was going on. The Chiefs personally had 2 players on their offensive line that just could not seem to stop getting penalties. Donovan Smith, always getting holding penalties, has always been a problem for him in his career. And he'll no longer be with the Chiefs, so they decided to go in another direction. And then Joan Taylor. Remember Joan Taylor, all those frustrating pre-snap false starts they were giving him, and everyone felt like, hey, they're picking on this one guy. Andy Reid even so much has said it. And there were some games last year, I don't know if you remember, but the Chiefs had put in another player at right tackle. I can't remember who it was, but there were several snaps where another player was put in at right tackle, and we're all like, is Joan Taylor hurt? Is there something wrong with his head? Maybe he's just really frustrated by all of these pre-snap penalties. What's going on? Well, some insider information kind of squeaked out, and the Chiefs were asking that player that was coming in for Joan Taylor to do just like Joan Taylor does and see if they get called penalties for it. And that player did not. And then Andy Reid, perhaps behind the scenes, was like, hey, look, same player, or same thing, different player. You are targeting my guy, and I'm not going to tolerate it. And through the first 6 weeks of the season, Joan Taylor had 11 penalties. For the first 5 weeks, weeks 1 through 5, he had 11 penalties. Andy Reid starts doing this little experiment, and for the last from week 6 to week 18, Joan Taylor only had 8 penalties. So I don't know if this little gamesmanship by Reid, worked, or if Joan Taylor got things sorted out. But the number of penalties that Taylor had just plummeted after week 5. And so I don't think Joan Taylor is going to be a liability for the Chiefs offense next season. I think he's going to get penalties just like every offensive lineman gets penalties. It's a crazy game. Guys grabbing everywhere. You got to time your snap just right. All that good stuff. But I don't think Joan Taylor is going to be a problem. He was a problem at the start of the year last year. But these are things that the Chiefs are going to have to deal with in 2024. They're going to have to deal with the continued review or the continued scrutiny of pre-snap penalties and eligible receivers downfield, these offensive pre-snap penalties. Why I'm saying this is that I don't think that this is going to be a major problem for the Chiefs in 2024. I think they're going to clean it up. 2023 was the rough year. 2024, they're going to clean it up. So why, in terms of the Chiefs' offensive output in 2023, why were they 8 points less than they were in years prior? Partially because of those penalties. And then also it has to do with their wide receiver core and their style of play. So even though they won the Super Bowl in 2022 and 2023, their offense wasn't as good as it had been the 4 years prior with Mahomes as the starting quarterback. So the reason the Chiefs are trying to get back to more of a downfield passing attack is because they want to rely less on that ball control style offense. So we've talked about it in weeks prior, but the NFL is really a cyclical league. And defenses learn how to play against certain offenses. They get really good at it. And I want to throw that in the ring as another reason why offense was down in 2023, and that's because defenses found a way to defend these super crazy NFL quarterbacks like Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They started to figure it out. And usually it takes a year or two. In Mahomes' case, he was so good it took about 4 or 5 years to really figure him out. And last season, the Chiefs, really moved to this ball control style offense, and you could see just this transformation of the way Mahomes plays. And this kind of 6-year period that he's been starting in the NFL, how he's changed, how he's grown. And he's grown to be this ball control style quarterback now, but he still has the capability to throw the ball downfield. So NFL defenses now are prepared to stop that ball control style offense that the Chiefs put out there, that Rashee Rice and Justin Watson style offense that the Chiefs put out there, but they're not prepared for what Andy Reid is going to do with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. And that is why I believe in 2018, Mahomes had such a dominant season. Andy Reid was sitting on this pile of gold that is Patrick Mahomes, and then he unleashed it on the NFL, and defensive coordinators are sitting there crapping themselves in the booth. How do we stop this? And it took them years to figure it out. Then they figure it out. Mahomes has to change and grow. And now the reason I'm bringing this up is because that element of surprise was so important in 2018. Nobody knew what was coming. Just like the element of surprise can be super important in 2024. No one really knows how the Chiefs are going to use Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. And Andy Reid has said he wants to move the ball downfield. Maybe that's a smokescreen. Maybe they're going to do it more with a defense or an offense that stretches the defense horizontally. And they're going to really focus on stretching defenses in ways that, aren't throwing the ball downfield. More of your screen game, your quick outside sweeps, things of that nature. But this element of surprise for the Chiefs in 2024 is really going to help them out. And weeks 1 through 5 for the Chiefs in 2024 are going to be so important. And this is why I say this. It's because this is going to be the time where the Chiefs are able to show the world and show the rest of the people watching the games and the other teams in the NFL that, hey, you're on notice. We can't throw the ball downfield again. We have the players to do it. You're going to have to figure something out. Those weeks are so important, too, because Rashee Rice is most likely going to be out those first, I'm thinking, at least 6 games of the season. And so, can the Chiefs throw the ball downfield? If they can establish that, then when Rashee Rice comes back, he's going to eat. He's going to eat up those underneath routes until defenses can try to find a way to stop that. And then there's going to be this tug and push-pull all year long where the Chiefs are just going between Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, just working the inside and the depth of the defense. And this is going to be, in my opinion, one of the better offenses that the Chiefs have seen in a while. I think it'll be up there with the Hill, Hardman, and Kelce years. And I say that not because I think that Hollywood Brown or Xavier Worthy are as good as Tyreek Hill. It's just the depth at the wide receiver position, the quality of the targets, and just this way that the team is constructed. It's going to be very well-rounded once Rashee Rice comes back. You're going to have a good wide receiver that can do some yak, make contested catches over the middle. You'll have Travis Kelce finding his spots in the defense. You'll have Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown doing their thing, stretching the field, making tough catches downfield, tracking the ball downfield. This is going to be a group that is primed to really excel in 2024. So I'm thinking, if I was to make a prediction here, I think that the Chief offense is going to correct from 2023, especially once Rashee Rice gets back. So that's why the Chiefs want to move the ball downfield more, is because they feel like, one, there's this cyclical flow, this dance between NFL offenses and defenses, that the Chiefs are recognizing, okay, they're stopping the short stuff. Let's go down the field. And then they want to get away from that ball control style offense because it kind of bit them in the rear in 2023. They really struggled, especially if the officiating is going to be looking for ticky-tack offensive penalties. So to overcome that, you need to be able to throw the ball downfield and not have a ball control style offense. If you have a ball control style offense, you're more likely to get stalled by an offensive penalty. Go back to the years where Alex Smith was the quarterback. He's like the ultimate ball control style quarterback. And, you felt like if your team had a holding penalty, you might as well just punt the ball. So the Chiefs want to get away from that, get away from being impacted by those offensive penalties, being able to overcome those, and then get away from that ball control style offense that, held them to 21.8 points per game in 2023. So the Chiefs' goal is obviously to win another Super Bowl, and they won a Super Bowl with that crazy, downfield passing offense in 2019. So of course they can do it, and it's really going to come to play and to fruition. We're going to see it firsthand, I think, the first 5 weeks of the season. If the Chiefs can throw the ball down the field in the first 5 weeks of the season, it's on. It's going to be an awesome year. If they can't, then we could be in for a rough show until Rashee Rice gets back. But that's my take. That's why the Chiefs are so concerned with throwing the ball downfield. That's why it keeps getting brought up. And that's why Andy Reid has kind of targeted as one thing that they really need to start doing. And then in addition to that, maybe this matters, maybe it doesn't, but Mahomes said he didn't have a ton of fun last year doing that ball control style offense. We all know what kind of player he is. He wants to throw the ball downfield. He wants those splash plays, but he also will do whatever it takes to win. So maybe this is going to make Patrick Mahomes have a little more fun next year. These couple fast receivers that can get downfield in a hurry. But that's it. This is Gary signing out. Got nothing more to add. That's why the Chiefs want to start throwing the ball down the field. And let me know in the comments whether or not you think that that's a valid reasoning, or if you have other reasoning yourself. We're on the brink of training camp. The rookies have already reported. The veterans report on the 20th. And then on the 21st, first day of camp, I'm going to be hitting up Twitter, watching all the updates. And we should have a great camp ahead of us. But like I said, this is Gary signing out. Y'all take it easy. Let's go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.